Hi, we are at City, Georgina, Lucero, Quetzali, Patsy, and let's talk about philosophy.
Have you ever heard about the replacement paradox called Theseus Ship? Well, imagine a person named Theo who wants to buy a car for his best friend Joe. However, this car starts having some problems. Its lock has to be changed, difficulties with the rear suspension, things that currently happen. Then, the car starts with more serious problems. First the clutch, then the gearbox, and finally all the electric system. Throughout time, the car had a lot of failures, so it rarely was out of the workshop. These problems repeated again and again. Tia thought, the most incredible part is the car only has 2 years and I have changed each of its parts. At the end, it will result in a new car. But was Theo right? Will Joe have a new car? What this scenario is asking us to imagine is if the car is still the same or if it is a completely different one as Theo thought.
If you think Theo is right or wrong, you might want to ask yourself the following question. After all the pieces that make up an object are replaced, is it the same or it will become a different object from the first one? This is the philosophical question of the Theseus Ship, and related to humans, we ask ourselves, are we the same person we were yesterday or 10 years ago? Philosophers have been trying to solve or at least make less complicated these questions by making statements related to minor problems that are involved to it, like the crisis of identity or the limit of the eye. However, they haven't reached a general conclusion about the topic.
John Locke's psychological history of each human had parts that were attached to other parts by threads formed by memories, convictions, and other things, so that even if all these threads are not present until the end of your days, you can still be you as long as there is one single part that continues to be attached to the rest. On the other hand, Thomas Reid said that the human being as an organism is different from the person who has consciousness, which includes memory of experiences, values, beliefs, etc. And since the last one can change as time passes, it is right to say that an elderly is totally different from the person that he was when he was young.
This being said, something important to ask ourselves is where exactly do we see this dilemma happening in real life? And well, as the philosophical question establishes, the bigger problem has to do mainly with people and how we perceive other people and our own selves, like we're still ourselves throughout time, even though things clearly do change. For instance, when we see a picture when we were younger, we refer to such a person as ourselves, younger but still ourselves, even when we don't look like that anymore. Another example has to do with our beliefs and how, even when they experience drastic changes, we still refer to ourselves as ourselves. The thing is, if we're made of our thoughts or our body, or either or neither, depending on what you incline towards to, how can they change totally while still being the same?
As a group, we believe that a person will always be that person through time. It doesn't matter that it looks or thinks differently. As life passes, each person has millions of experiences that make him or her change, but doesn't make them different. Otherwise, they would transform every second. We agree with John Locke of the psychological continuity proposal because each individual has an essence that doesn't change. There is not a single human being that is the same as you in any factors. For example, it's impossible to paint exactly like another person. If you made a copy of a painting and even though to our eyes it looked exactly the same, if we were to measure the strokes, we would find out each person has a unique way of doing things. The unsolved questions are what essence makes you unique and what happens if that essence is just part of the mind? If someone put my essence in another body, is that still me? Again, trying to solve the Theseus ship will bring up endless questions without an exact answer. At the end, that's what philosophy is about.